The time has come for people to get really angry online on Thursday when the Oscar nominations drop. Hello, everybody. As I said, the time has come. We're in it. We're about to find out who the Oscar nominees are for 2026. But before that, we have to get through all of our Oscar predictions. So that's what I'm going to do for you today. I'm going to show you who I have for each of the categories. I might not talk in depth about each of them because, for example, some of them I really don't have too many explanations for why I went with something. Sometimes you're just kind of going off of vibes. So I'll give you a little bit of that, but we are going to talk about some more heated, contested categories. So let's jump in. For the shorts categories, to be quite honest, I'm never a really good judge with these categories, so I'm just going to flash the 5 that I have for each of the categories for you so you can see what they've got. To be quite honest, I kind of determined these based off of the average rating on Letterboxd, on what other pundits have said, and kind of did a mix of all of that. So, is it the most original? No, but I did not have a chance to see these, so we're going off of it. Once the nominees are announced, I will be watching them though. For Best Song, this one is always a really fun category. You never know what you're gonna get. There's probably always gonna be a Diane Warren song in there, and guess what? I have one predicted for this year too. So for this category, I have Golden, I Lied to You, The Girl in the Bubble, Train Dreams, and Dear Me. There has been a lot of talk about the song from Come and See Me in the Good Light making it through. Totally a possibility. I feel, I guess, a bit more confident in my 5 because, again, there is a Diane Warren song. You've got Golden, which is a huge leader and most likely going to win this category. I Lied to You from Sinners, another great musical film. The Girl in the Bubble, coming from a musical film, even though I don't think that one is a very well written song, but that one kind of seems to have come through. And then Train Dreams. I believe last year the song from Sing Sing made it in this category too, if I am remembering correctly. So there's kind of a bit of precedent with the Clint Bentley, Greg Quidar films. So I'm kind of sticking with that at the moment. I could possibly see Girl in the Bubble not making it, and maybe the song from Come and See Me in the Good Light makes it. That is a possibility. I also quite enjoyed the song from Highest to Lowest, that A$AP Rocky song, so kind of would love to see that make it in too. Score. I have Sinners, One Battle After Another, Hamnet, Frankenstein, and Surat. I'm kind of going on a limb with Surat here just because it quite surprised me how many shortlists it made it on, and certainly Score was one of them. And the score is kind of banger, I do have to say. They're not always the most friendly when it comes to the electronica dance genre. Thinking about you, challengers, RIP, always in my heart. So I'm prepared for that one to not make it in if that's what ends up being. What could be a possible alternate? I suppose Marty Supreme. That one has a pretty good constant rhythm and beat throughout, especially as it's leading us into all of these big moments with ping pong. Maybe the F1 score, that one also had a good energy to it. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. Maybe Train Dreams, another possibility for that one. I don't know. But either way, I am prepared to be wrong on that last one. Visual effects, this one I am guessing is going to be won by Avatar, Fire and Ash, and everybody else gets to participate. But aside from Avatar, I've got F1, Wicked for Good, Sinners, and Superman. Could also be another potential where Wicked doesn't make it in. I just don't really know what the consensus is with this film among the Academy this year. It was huge last year, got a lot of nominations. That film was received better than this current one, so I don't know, maybe that one makes it out. I feel like the graphics and visual effects in Superman were really good, but that is a possibility that it doesn't make it in. I'm seeing a lot of The Lost Bus as alternates for this category, which that could for sure make it in. That one had a lot to do with wildfires and that stuff is always very impressive and very hard to actually make it look real and lifelike. So that one I'm having as an alternate. Maybe a little bit of Frankenstein, even though they were very adamant about saying that they used minimal visual effects through that. Maybe Tron Ares. Sound, I already think that I fucked up this one a little bit just because we had the sound nominations come out through their specific branch. But my nominees are Sinners, F1, One Battle After Another, Surat, and Avatar Fire and Ash. I'm pretty sure the first four made it in. Avatar did not. I think Frankenstein was the one that took that spot. So I'm prepared for Frankenstein to get the nomination. I don't know why I picked Avatar. I just think that a lot of the technical elements of those films always really work super well. So I kind of thought maybe they would give it an extra bone here or there. But honestly, Avatar might just be looking at a lone visual effects nomination. So now we're getting into some of the more fun and very exciting and very challenging categories to narrow it down to. Production design. I have Frankenstein, Wicked for Good, Sinners, Hamnet, and Marty Supreme. I would say for the most part, I'm feeling very good about this category and the lineup. I think all of those are pretty good heavy hitters when it comes to not only the films themselves, but obviously the beautiful art decorations and designs that are in them. I think Frankenstein ultimately will be running away with this category. Wicked, I think it won last year, so I still have it in my mix as a potential spoiler in that regard. But I mean, Sinners, the town that they erected, the juke joint, all of the different areas and locations that we get to spend time with. It's such a good location setting film. Hamnet, same thing too. I think a lot of people are probably thinking about the Globe Theater at the end and the fact that they had to recreate it. But there are a lot of really interesting elements throughout that town. And of course, we spent a lot of time in the forest, which, all right, they didn't have to plant a whole forest necessarily. But I think that that one also gives us a really good sense of place and location throughout the film. And then Marty Supreme, I have that one in there just because there are a lot of different locations that we're going in and out of. It gives you a very real 1950s vibe of New York City. So I'm feeling good. Famous last words. Makeup and hairstyling, one that I was kind of going back and forth on a little bit. But my category consists of Frankenstein, Wicked for Good, The Smashing Machine, Sinners, and Marty Supreme. Yeah, I'm not really too confident in this category. I do think Frankenstein is for sure in. Wicked for Good, I think is for sure in. The Smashing Machine, I go back and forth on that. Both in terms of, did people watch this film? Are they going to vote for it? I do think that the makeup work on Dwayne Johnson is very good. It makes him look different than how we usually see him, so that's kind of what people like and look out for in that category. Sinners, again, I think they just nailed the period and the look, and especially some of the makeup effects later on when it comes to the vampires. And then Marty Supreme, you know, I would not be shocked if that one misses this category. I guess the reason why I put that in there is because usually the makeup and hairstyling winners / nominees often correlate with some of the acting nominees. So if Timothy is in the long run going to win Best Actor, I felt like the makeup work in Marty Supreme would make it in. They showed a lot of the different things that they did to his skin to make it look very pimply, and he had a lot of problems with acne, which I can relate, my king. But also even just the look, again, of the 1950s and Gwyneth Paltrow's character, Odessa's character, all these different ways that people present themselves. It could make it in here, it could not, and I'm prepared for it to not make it in here. What is a possible alternate? I'm seeing a lot of Kukuho in this category. I have to admit, I have not seen that film myself, so I can't speak on it, but that one really caught my eye in terms of what is showing up in a lot of people's predictions. maybe One Battle After Another, and just the way that all those different characters are styled, although I don't know if anything necessarily really stands out to me in that film when it comes to makeup and hairstyling. The Ugly Stepsister, that would be such a fun nomination. They do such incredible work in that film, so I would love to see that. So I don't know, I'm reluctant about this category. Editing. This is a big one. This one often correlates either with the overall winner or just a good idea of what are the top films that people are watching, what is going to be in Best Picture. But I have One Battle After Another, Sinners, Marty Supreme, F1, and Hamnet. I was going back and forth on this one for quite a bit, especially the last slot. For the most part, I feel good about the first four. I think there's a lot of cool editing done. One Battle After Another flies by. 2 hours and 40 minutes. Unbelievable that they achieved how quickly that pace is. Sinners, again, so many different storylines kind of coming together and perspectives. Marty Supreme, a lot of high energy in that film, and so I think that that lends itself to a nomination. F1, same thing. So many different locations and races and just ways to cut and make these races exciting that I think works in its favor. I didn't know what to do with the last one. I didn't know if I was going to put in Hamnet or Sentimental Value or Frankenstein or A House of Dynamite. I went with Hamnet just because I think it's one of the main nominees for Best Picture and overall a main nominee of this year's Oscars race. Am I 1000% confident? No. Maybe it's Frankenstein, maybe it's Sentimental Value. I would love a Sentimental Value nom here. But we'll stick with Hamnet only because of, again, it being a main horse in this race. Costume design, another very fun, pretty category. This one I have Frankenstein, Wicked for Good, Hamnet, Sinners, and I have a lone nomination for Hedda. I really want to see Hedda make it in. The costumes are gorgeous in this film. They are so beautiful, so regal. There are so many different types seen at this party, so it makes sense to me as a lone nom. We'll see. I don't know. Could there be other people that spoil the party? There's a possibility with Marty Supreme, although I don't really know if I was that convinced with its costumes. One Battle After Another, we've got some pretty iconic looks, especially with Bob Ferguson and his robe, but, you know, more or less with that. Maybe The Secret Agent, maybe The Testament of Anne Lee, maybe Kiss of the Spider Woman. All of those could seem like possibilities. I would probably put more money on The Secret Agent compared to those other two, but I think Testament of Anne Lee still has a shot here. But yeah, I feel good about the first four. Hedda, again, would love to see it as a lone nominee. Who knows? Cinematography, another beautiful, awesome category. For this one, I have One Battle After Another, Sinners, Frankenstein, Hamnet, and Train Dreams. I just think all of them do such beautiful work, in all honesty. What am I not feeling confident about? I see a lot of people predicting Marty Supreme in this category. I think I kind of had to stop myself from just defaulting to Marty Supreme because I don't know, is this film going to get like 11 nominations? I have no idea. Is Train Dreams going to actually make it in? Is Hamnet actually going to make it in? I think both of those films do incredible work when it comes to the cinematography. But I don't know if both of them make it in, if only one of them makes it in, if none of them make it in. Maybe there is a shot for Begonia or Die My Love in this category. I am not banking on it, but those are kind of the first films that come to mind when I think of beautiful ones to look at and just such interesting images captured in them. But yeah, it's hard for me to not see Hamnet or Train Dreams in this category because they're so beautiful and I love the work and the images captured in them. And again, I have such a hard time believing that Marty Supreme is going to get like almost as many nominations as One Battle and Sinners. I just don't know. I don't know what to do. Our new category for this year, Best Casting. This one, I'm really excited to see how the first year kind of shapes the direction and like the idea of what Best Casting includes. Is it just more or less best ensemble, or is it really like we found the right people for the work that we wanted to do? But I've got Sinners, One Battle After Another, Marty Supreme, Sentimental Value, and Hamnet for this. I think all five of those have really fantastic casts. I don't really know which one would miss, which one wouldn't. I just kind of like the idea of having all of them, if I'm being totally honest. Hate to say it, but I want to be right on this one. But of course, there's probably going to be some change, some people who don't make it. Maybe they end up throwing Wicked for Good a bone because great cast. Maybe Frankenstein makes it in because great cast. Maybe there's a surprise weapons nom in there because that also has a really stacked cast. Secret Agent, Surat, literally what have you could make it into this category, and I'm just not really sure who to take out, who to sub in for. I'm staying with those five. I feel good about those five. Again, famous last words. Documentary feature. I have The Perfect Neighbor, 2,000 Meters to Andrivka, My Undesirable Friends, The Alabama Solution, and Cover Up. Again, I think it's a pretty good lineup slash good list here. Maybe there is a mention for Mr. Nobody Against Putin. Maybe there is a little bit of Apocalypse in the Tropics love. I don't know. I'm going to stick with those five. I think ultimately The Perfect Neighbor will end up taking this category if that one is nominated. That one has just kind of had like a really strong hold on this category since Sundance. I saw that one at Sundance, and that one was really a all types of emotional watch. So if you haven't had a chance to see that film, try to see it, especially if it's nominated. It will get your blood boiling in a number of different ways. Animated feature, always a fun category. For this one, I've got K-pop Demon Hunters, Zootopia 2, Little Amelie or The Character of Rain, Arco, and Elio. Again, I'm feeling pretty good about this five. Perhaps In Your Dreams kind of comes in and takes over the spot for Elio. Honestly, I am not really banking on that for a whole lot. I think this is pretty good. Maybe Scarlet ends up making it into, maybe The Bad Guys too. I don't know, but I think for the most part, most people have this top five, so I feel pretty good. International feature. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I am taking a gamble with this one, and I'm just gonna do the straight neon ticket for this. It might not end up working out for me, but that's fine. I've got The Secret Agent, Sentimental Value, It Was Just an Accident, Surat, and No Other Choice. I feel good about the first four. I guess No Other Choice would be the one that here or there. What could be a possible spoiler? The Voice of Hin Rajab, I think, is coming up as a pretty good choice for that. Maybe The Left-Handed Girl, a film that I really enjoyed. Maybe Kukuho, another one. So I would say that those three are kind of on the edge for me. Why I decided to go with All Neon, I'm not sure, aside from they're all really good movies. Plain and simple. But I do know that there was some issues with No Other Choice and when and how it was written. Maybe that does ultimately hinder its chances here. And I don't know, it seems like sometimes Korean films are not always the most well received with the Academy, Parasite aside, but I would love to see that one make it in. It would just be fun. Park Chan-wook, one of our best directors and filmmakers, he deserves to have his films recognized, so I'm keeping it with this. I'm locking in. Adapted screenplay. I have One Battle After Another, Hamnet, Frankenstein, Train Dreams, and Begonia. I think this is going to be the five. I really do. I had No Other Choice in there for some time. Then I decided to take it out because of the WGA stuff. And it looks like Begonia is kind of gaining traction with the Academy slash with voters, as seen in other bodies. So I'm feeling good about this. Train Dreams, I think that one is okay. Ooh, I hope that one's okay. Frankenstein, that one certainly got a lot of love despite its shaky start at Venice. And then Hamnet and One Battle, I mean, those are two of the top five films of this Oscar season. So I'm feeling good about this. Original screenplay, I have Sinners, It Was Just an Accident, Sentimental Value, Marty Supreme, and Sorry Baby. We're gonna see if the powers of Julia Roberts are as strong as I think that they are, because God, would I love that Ava Victor nomination. They would deserve it. This is such a beautiful film. I adore this film. So I'm really, really hoping that that makes it in. The other four I feel very good about, I would say. Maybe instead of Sorry Baby, we get, I don't know, Blue Moon. Maybe we get The Secret Agent. I think those are possibilities. But yeah, I may be just kind of voting and predicting with my heart here, but I need that Sorry Baby nomination. And that would be a great one too. A great lone screenplay nom. So deserved. All right, we have reached the acting categories. Best Supporting Actor. I I'm going to say that I'm feeling good about this. I think this is going to be the final five. I say that now. Mm. But I have Stellan Skarsgård, Benicio del Toro, Jacob Elordi, Sean Penn, and Paul Mescal. I think we have seen these five strongly all throughout the season. I think that this is going to happen. And it will happen because I said it's going to happen and it's my predictions. But yeah, I think they all come from and represent very strong, beloved films this year, all giving really great performances. Adam Sandler was in and out for a while. I've decided to leave him out here. I just don't think that Jay Kelly is happening. I don't think it's strong. He did not make it into the SAG lineup, even with Stellan Skarsgård not in that one. So I think that said a lot. And Miles Caton, I love his performance. I think he's great. I just think that the other ones have more of a lock, but hey, maybe he does make it in. That would be so fucking cool, and I would love to see that nom. Who would he take out? Probably Paul Mescal, if I'm being totally honest. I think Jacob Elordi has like really cemented himself so far, so that would be awesome to see. I don't know, maybe Jacob Elordi is not as safe as I think he is, but I don't know. I think this is a good top five for the supporting actors. Supporting actress. Whew, this one has made some changes on my list since we last spoke. But I have Tiana Taylor, Amy Madigan, Inga Ibsdotter Lilias, Wunmi Musaku, and Odessa Azion. I feel like this is going to be one where I'm like, well, why didn't I predict Ariana? Yeah, possibly. I just don't know. I really just don't know if Wicked for Good is gonna be a big thing, and especially in above the line categories. So that's why I didn't feel very confident with Ariana Grande making it in. I think I also saw that the only time somebody has been nominated for playing the same role twice has been Cate Blanchett in Elizabeth, and that was way back when. So I don't know, I just didn't feel confident in the 2 years in a row nomination with this one. I don't feel very confident with Odessa, if I'm being totally honest. I guess I felt okay at the time because she got in for the SAG Actor Awards, which was honestly a huge surprise to me. I kind of thought that maybe they would go with Gwyneth Paltrow because it was so great to see her back on screen in this film. I was also surprised to see her on the BAFTA long list. So honestly, that kind of got me thinking like, I guess I may be potentially underestimating her in this whole race. So I'm going with it. I'm gonna give it a shot. Again, Marty Supreme is showing up in a number of categories. I know I said it would be crazy for it to get 11 nominations. Watch it get like 12 at this point because people seem to really love that film. So She could come in, as I said last time, she could be like a complete unknown where a lot of people got drawn in for that film. So we could see, we'll see it. Wunmi Mosaku, I'm also really happy to see that she has kind of been gaining traction too. I think that she is so good in Sinners, and I just adore her in general. So I'm really, really hoping that she does make it in for that. I've decided to only stick with Inga for sentimental value rather than Elle. I don't know. We're gonna see, but I feel like Inga's performance, and especially it being a international branch, etc., I think that that will play in her favor. And then Tayana and Amy, those two are legitimately the only two that I feel very strong and locked in on. But they have just been going back and forth in terms of who's getting the awards. And so I think that they are safe and that this race will ultimately come down to the two of them. Hoping for that Tayana win. Best Actor, I have Timothée Chalamet, Leonardo DiCaprio, Wagner Moura, Ethan Hawke, and Michael B. Jordan. Again, this is one that has had a lot of conversation and back and forth on in terms of the first three feeling fairly good about Ethan Hawke too. People love Ethan Hawke, but it was a question of is Michael B. going to make it in? And it was really hard for me to like confidently make another list without him in here. So ultimately, I'm sticking with him because, again, I hope that Sinners really does get a lot of love on Oscar nominations morning. Jesse Plemons as a possible upset, Joel Edgerton, definitely. So I'm not ruling out those two, but I just feel like this is a great best lead actor group and I'd be so happy with it. Honestly, with most of these, I'm really happy with what these groupings are going to look like. So we're locking it in, we're throwing it away, we're forgetting about it. Best Actress, always the most exciting and most hard to predict category because, oh my god, these women are incredible. But we've got Jessie Buckley, Rose Byrne, Renata Rensve, Emma Stone, and Chase Infinity. Listen, I am fully ready for Kate Hudson to make it into this lineup. I just didn't have it in me to take out Renata or Chase. I just couldn't do it. I love both of those women. I think they give great performances. Maybe it's Kate instead of Emma Stone. Possible, for sure. I also kind of feel like Emma Stone is just kind of like an Oscar darling at this point. So it felt like a possible yes, she can make it in or she won't make it in. But she's been showing up in a lot of different voting groups, in a lot of different nominations, so it just didn't feel right to not have this with Emma Stone. Kate Hudson, why I'm thinking she won't make it in. Number one, all of the 5 women that I have in this category come from really strong films and or they've also been getting the nominations. The same could be said with Rose Byrne. She is a lone nominee for her film, yes, but she did just win the Golden Globe. She has been making it into all of these nominations, so that's why I kept it in. And then you can say the same thing, but Emma, Kate Hudson, has also been making it into all these nominations and you don't have her in, and she's a lone nominee. Yes. So that's my answer, yes. Some people have said that Chase Infinity is not going to make it in because she doesn't have as strong of a performance. Okay, but the whole film very much does have to deal with her character. The whole reason why we are on this big journey is because Willa has disappeared. She's one of the 2 people that are being hunted and chased after by Lockjaw. She does have a great performance, and it's a crazy debut performance. So I have her in there because of the inevitable wins that one battle after another is going to have. And so I kind of thought maybe people will vote for her in that case. Maybe they will not. We're going to have to see about that. But for now, I'm going to keep it as is. I also understand that, yes, Kate Hudson is probably making it in. We're going to deal with that when we deal with that. But honestly, as long as I can get Jessie, Rose, Renata, and Chase in my category, I would be really, really happy. Emma Stone, she doesn't have to be here. But yeah, I just couldn't do I just couldn't do it without them. Alrighty, Best Director. Another category that a lot of people were coming up with so many different scenarios, crazy misses, crazy ads, etc. But ultimately, I am sticking with Paul Thomas Anderson, Ryan Coogler, Chloe Zhao, Joachim Trier, and Jafar Panahi. It makes sense to me as that lineup. And that's all I can say. But really, I just don't know. I think having Joachim and Jafar, that would make it a beautiful lineup and represent five incredibly strong films. Is there a possibility where only one of them makes it in? For sure. Who is that alternate? Maybe it's Guillermo del Toro, maybe it's Josh Safdie, maybe it's Kleber for The Secret Agent. Is there a world where neither one of them makes it in? There is for sure a possibility for it. And maybe it defaults to the Directors Branch DGA Award nominees. It usually doesn't, because usually it's like only two or maybe at most three overlap with that. So that's why I didn't feel confident in predicting Josh and Guillermo. But there's also no denying that their films aren't so powerful and so strong. Why I went with Joachim Trier. Sentimental Value is one of the strong films. There is a possibility of it having 3 acting nominations, screenplay, and a couple of other here and there international feature. They do love having an international director in there, and in many ways, yes, Chloe Zhao is that international director. I felt like he had to be in there. It's not only my bias that's talking, because I do really love Sentimental Value as the movie, but it just felt like, again, it's one of the stronger films of the year, so why not give it to him? And he's made huge strides this year. I would argue that he should have been in the lineup for Worst Person in the World way back when, but it wasn't the time for that yet. I feel like this would be a really good year for Joachim to make it in. And then for Jafar Panahi, not only is It Was Just an Accident such a searing and brutal and honest work, there's also a lot of what he has done to bring this film forward. He had to film this film in secret. He had to leave his country to do it. He is voluntarily returning to his country to go to prison and serve out his time. This is somebody who loves what he does. He wants to make the films that he wants to make. He's not afraid to make the films that he wants to make. I just think that him being in this lineup also is just a beautiful way to honor that, and the courage and the strength that he shows through filmmaking, and really just what good filmmaking and what this medium means. This is a way for people to express themselves, to highlight issues in their society, to really get people thinking and talking, and his film is certainly one of those that does that. And so I would just love to see him in this lineup. People can have a million and one other reasonings. For Josh Safdie, for example, Marty Supreme is another strong film. He had a vision, he executed that vision, he dreamed big, so he can make it up in that lineup. Guillermo del Toro, he is loved in the Academy. He has won a number of times. He is somebody who loves filmmaking to its most beautiful and simplest form. He can make it in too. And I think all of them have really presented us with amazing films. So in the end, we're going to see. I personally really like my lineup and I would love to see it happen, but I'm also prepared for possibly one, possibly two people to make it out of it. But yeah, Paul Thomas Anderson, it's his year. I am not doubting him being in there. There was talk of Ryan Coogler missing. I just feel like this would feel incomplete without him. I said the same thing with Greta Gerwig the year that she did not make it in for Barbie. So I guess we'll see with that again. And then Chloe Zhao for Hamnet, it would be a travesty to not nominate her either for it. Not only because of her work, but I don't think we are ready for the backlash with yet another all-male category this year. So let's see. And then finally, Best Picture. Another one where I've kind of gone back and forth on what's in, what's out. I have settled on One Battle After Another, Sinners, Hamnet, Sentimental Value, Marty Supreme, Frankenstein, The Secret Agent, Begonia, Train Dreams, and It Was Just an Accident. I think this is a great lineup personally, but also just in terms of showcasing what this whole year has got. Things that I'm feeling pretty good about in making it in here. I would say almost all of them, in all honesty. But I mean, definitely One Battle, Sinners, Hamnet, Sentimental Value, Marty Supreme, Frankenstein. I think definitely Begonia has secured its spot here. I think that The Secret Agent has also kind of arisen over the past few weeks, especially with a number of Best International Feature wins, and of course Wagner Mora making it in. This could very much have a similar trajectory to I'm Still Here, last year's winner, and another Brazilian film. So I kind of went that same route with that. Train Dreams, you know, Sing Sing did not make it into the Best Picture lineup the year that that came out. So I kind of have a little bit of pause on that film, but I will be totally honest with you. I didn't feel confident in Avatar making it into this lineup. I didn't feel confident about Wicked for Good making it in this lineup, just in terms of the general reception and strength of the film. So I kept those two out and decided to go for Train Dreams. And then again, it was just an accident. Same reasons that I gave for why Jafar Panahi should make it into the Best Director lineup, similar reasons to why it should make it here into the Best Picture lineup. So I feel pretty good about this lineup. I don't know if I'm missing like any big ones. I mean, maybe there is a surprise with F1 just making it in there randomly. That would be cool. But yeah, I didn't feel confident in predicting that personally. So there you have it. Those are all of my predictions for all of the Oscar categories. I'm expecting there to be misses, but boy, would it be so cool if I just got everything correct, wouldn't it? And then nobody would ever question my authority or my opinions ever again. But in all seriousness, it was a great year. It's fun to see how all these different people are thinking with their predictions, but time will soon tell us what the final results are. So please, let's not be too pissed and angry, and let's not have too many surprises and snubs. Although, if they're really good surprises, then great. If there are snubs, but there's a good reason for it, okay, but still, don't snub any of the people that I want to make it in. Okay, Academy? Let me know what you guys think of not only my predictions, but where your head is at with a number of these categories, and we will talk next time.